How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, we are seeing a continuation in our descending channel. We'll get on that on the hourly because it could end up being invalidated. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is rounding away, that VWAP is seeing lower lows, causing our momentum and money flow to fall, so watch lower time frames as that could continue to weaken. Over on the 1 hour here, we do have our third touch to the top. This would be where you would want your break up, but we did reject and we are coming down to our 300 EMA. If we break that EMA and then we break our 103, it's likely we would see the bearish scenario in this case and not get our bullish break up. Remember, with Dixie being inverse to crypto, that would be positive for crypto. VWAP is pulling back, momentum is pushing down, and that money flow is in the bearish territory. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we are increasing. We're doing better than total, not by much though. Stochastic does look like it wants to round, RSI is flattening out, and VWAP is pulling back. So I would watch these lanes. If that VWAP continues to weaken with Stochastic, we could see momentum round away and money flow could start to weaken, and we could see our altcoins outperform Bitcoin. Over on the total for the daily, we are still within our triangle. I would watch as we approach the bottom. We have had 3 touches to the top. This would be our third touch to the bottom. Usually after 3 or more touches to the top, you can get your break up. Sometimes you do trade to the peak of your pattern, but again, watch that bearish scenario of the bottom. So we need a strong bounce and a continuation from there. RSI is pulling back, Stochastic wants to round away. Momentum is rounding with a red dot, that blue wave, so I would watch. If that continues, our VWAP could bring us lower. That VWAP yellow wave is breaking into the bearish territory, and money flow is starting to stagnate. If that VWAP favors bearish from here, momentum will fall, and money flow will start to weaken. As a result, people selling off the altcoins more than they're buying. Over on our 1 hour, we did reject the top of our golden pocket, and now we are in our bear consolidation zone. So watch this zone. We did reject that 300 EMA, and once we broke it, we kind of spilled over. VWAP does want to reclaim bullish territory, so if that can maintain a bullish trend with higher highs and higher lows from here, momentum will push up and money flow could make a bounce. However, if that VWAP does not get a higher high with higher lows, then momentum will remain bearish, money flow will continue to weaken, and we could invalidate our pattern. Remember, usually you want to watch for the breakup, retest, and continuation. Right here, you got the breakup, retest, and rejection. So that's the opposite. That's why you wait for confirmations. Remember, you don't want to just jump in just because there's a pattern. Patterns do help with trading, but they're not 100% guaranteed. So over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, I did not drop the links for you guys. So there you go. There's our links. So for our Mastering the Trade and our Discord, we did call a possible rejection in our Discord. Over on the daily here for futures, we are starting to round away. This could be a rounding top, and we could fill our first gap. Remember, if we don't make a bounce off that 69K gap, then we do have that 57K and 54K gap, as well as some other intermediate gaps. So I would watch these support areas very closely, because if we break that 69, then we could start to cascade away toward our 65, 61, and then 57. And then worst case scenario would be this 54K gap. Stochastic is rounding away, momentum is rounding with a double red dot, and VWAP has a lower high, so watch for a lower low. If that VWAP gets a lower low, momentum will start to fall, money flow will fall, and we could have a bearish trend that would bring us lower. So over on the 1 hour, you can see we had that sideways consolidation possibility, but we got rejected. We'll cover that more on Bitcoin as we have it drawn out there. RSI is pulling back, Stochastic is rounding away, getting lower highs, so keep an eye as we are rejecting below 30. Remember, anything below 30 is bearish and brings RSI and price lower. Our money flow is in the red as that VWAP is favoring bearish, so watch if that VWAP rejects here. If it does, we would get a lower high with this lower low, causing a bearish trend, and then momentum would remain bearish, money flow would continue to sell off, and we would see those lower scenarios. Ideally, we would make a bounce off that 300 EMA. We did not really get a too decent test of our 300 EMA when we ripped up from it. So maybe we come back down, make a bounce, and continue. You're going to want to watch that very close. If we make a bounce off that EMA, that's where we could retest for higher scenarios. But watch for patterns. We really can't give you a breakout without any kind of pattern, because we're doing pattern trading and not just magic number trading. Over on Bitcoin, we will jump to the daily. We do have the same rounding top here. Remember, we did have the possibility of breaking forward, but that was not confirmed. You want to watch for that breakout and the retest and bounce. Stochastic does want to round, momentum is rounding, VWAP is starting to push down, and money flow is in the bearish territory, so I would watch that VWAP. If it continues to push down, our money flow could start to break into the red and we could start to slip away. And as futures does lead Bitcoin, we would have the same kind of support areas here. So I would watch. We did reject. We hit almost our third touch to the top. That's where you would want your break up. And then we got manipulation X that could be in your queue that we would end up selling off. VWAP is favoring bearish with lower lows, so watch against lower highs. If we see lower highs, we will create a bearish trend that will cause momentum to remain bearish and cause money flow to stay in the red, weakening those higher time frames and giving us that possibility to see that breakdown. Here would be like your 69, your 65, and your 63. So 63 is the only outlier here. So over on Bitcoin, remember, if you have any special requests, drop them in the chat or any comments. Over on graph for the daily, we did try to break that 14,316 like we've been warning about. We are possibly making a lower high with a lower low, so this could be a bearish continuation. I would see if they end up connecting well or not over the next few days. RSI is weakening, stochastic wants to run. That VWAP has a lower high and it's starting to reject, so I would watch for consistent or lower lows and a favor to the bearish side. If we see that, we're likely going to break down. The only positive is this is a long lower shadow candle, so if we close like this and then follow with a strong green candle, then we do have that possibility to get a rounding bottom and continue forward and invalidate that bearish possibility. That's why I said watch for that confirmation. VWAP is pushing down, momentum wants to run with a red dot, and money flow is in the green, but if that VWAP continues lower, that could change. Over on the 1 hour, so it looks like our break was very recent, has a very weird looking candle, so no body and a very long wick. RSI is trying to make a bounce. VWAP does have a higher high, so this is positive. If this trend can continue, we could continue toward that little mini gap right at that 14,821. Then if VWAP stays bullish from that point, we could see a continuation and a retest of our higher EMAs. If we see some sort of rejection in that area, I would exercise caution as our EMAs are starting to spread apart to the bearish side, and that does give us that scenario where you can push down. VWAP is in the bullish territory again, so watch for higher highs with higher lows. Momentum does want to push forward with the double green dot, and money flow is bearish, but if that VWAP picks up strength, that could reverse. Over on Ankr for the daily, we do have that same rising channel possibility and rejection, creating a rounding top and a possible lower high with lower lows. So watch if we break that value area low or that 2338. If we break that, then we will continue lower to that 2020 that we've been warning about. RSI is starting to pull back, stochastic wants around. That VWAP does have a lower high, and we are breaking bearish. So I would watch if that VWAP continues to push down and gets consistent lows. We will see that money flow start to go from green to red, and we will show further selling pressure. So over on the 1 hour, we did reject that 300 EMA, and since then we've been spilling over, and when we saw our EMA band break, that's when we kind of just spilled very quickly. That being said, we do have gaps to the upside, so now that we're filling our downside gaps, that does give us the possibility to start to gain bullish traction. VWAP is pushing up. We have higher highs and higher lows. If that can maintain, momentum will give bullish momentum. We do have a green dot. That double green dot, remember, does show momentum wants to break forward if that VWAP stays bullish. If that happens, money flow will go from red to green, and that will show further buying pressure rather than selling pressure to help push us forward. Over on XRP, we're going to stop at algo today. Not going to do DAG unless there's a request for it. Over on XRP for the daily, we did reject our flag like we said to watch out for, so I would watch for lower highs and lower lows in this scenario as well. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is weakening, VWAP is pulling back, breaking into the bearish territory and causing momentum to have that red dot. So money flow is weakening. Watch lower time frames. If that continues, we could continue to sell off here. Over on the 1 hour, our EMA band is starting to break and spread apart. Again, watch for that to continue, as that can lead us lower like it did here. When they do start to round forward, that is when you gain your bullish traction, so keep an eye out for that. Over on this 1 hour, RSI is pushing up, stochastic gaining strength. VWAP is breaking bullish, but I would watch for a lower high. If we get a lower high followed by lower lows, we could break down, so keep a close eye here over the next few hours. We are trying to make a rounding bottom, so we need higher highs and higher lows to help push us forward. Momentum does have a double green dot, so that money flow is gaining strength. Again, that VWAP needs to stay bullish for that strength to continue. Over on algo, last but not least, since we have no requests, we do have a rounding top here as well. Again, watch for lower highs and lower lows that could break us down, and that would push us right around that 883, so revisiting some of those low lows. Stochastic does want to round away, RSI is pushing down. That VWAP does have a short wave, so watch for a break to the bearish side, as that could give us bearish favor, and momentum does have a red dot, suggesting that VWAP is trying to break down. Money flow is pretty flat, just in the bullish territory, so it doesn't have very much ground to keep pushing us forward if the lower time frames continue to cascade away. Over on the 1 hour, we do have those lower highs and lower lows that do not connect in this range as a bearish continuation, so pay very close attention to VWAP, and our EMA bands are starting to spread, much like our other coins. VWAP is trying to break bullish, but again, I would watch if we can get higher highs and higher lows on that VWAP from this point. If we can push up, but if we see that VWAP reject and push into bearish territory, momentum will remain bearish, money flow will continue to weaken, and that's where we would see those lower points. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. I appreciate all of you. Fuel Rockets requested some information about Ankr and if it can melt faces. In my opinion, I think it could melt some faces, because if we do end up pumping up here, we'll go back on the weekly like we did yesterday. We do have this forecast tool. I believe that's right here. So if we measure from where we are today, and let's say we want to break toward our golden pocket, since that's going to be the next strong support resistance area once we start gaining bullish traction. That area in itself is about 458% move from here. If we're going to revisit previous highs, that's a 598%. So in my opinion, that is a very great return. You're getting several 100% returns. Again, there does have some risk. You want to watch if the chain is continuing to grow. If volume and active wallets continue to grow, then your chain's more active, you're going to get more momentum, and it's more likely people will start buying in the bull market. I think that could be a few months away with the election uncertainty, so I would watch the election results, as if the election results aren't too good, there are companies closing down currently, things are a little shaky, so things may not be, people may not put more money into the market, as they may be a little more risk adverse, because they may be afraid of a recession, despite some of the positivity they're trying to push right now, just to make one party look better than the other. So I would warn against that. Watch the election results, watch what they're saying. Gary Gensler is kind of the one that's making some of these alts drop, and if he is removed, then that may help have a positive effect, as some of his lawsuits may get dropped then. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great night. Thanks for the comments, Fuel Rockets. Hope you all subscribe, hit the like.